came across a dad and his son. His name is Dan, and his son is called Joshie, and they have an account called the Joshie-Man. And Josh is a non-speaking autistic boy, and their strapline is trying to change the world. I have become a bit obsessed with Dan and Josh and watching all their TikToks. And I'm absolutely thrilled that he's driven from Peterborough to come and see me. Hello, Dan.
So excited to be here. Thank you.
And hello, Joshie.
Joshie, you want to say hello?
Joshie.
Hello?
Hi, Josh.
Maybe later.
Now,
hello. He got it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Josh. Now, I want to first of all talk about what you're trying to do on your account, because if anybody, as an ex-carer myself, and I worked with a lot of autistic people, and the challenges that come for them in our world, not easy. And you're trying to change that because Josh has his own voice. Just because we can't hear it, he has his own voice, and you're sort of working out a way for kids and adults like Josh to be heard.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And the key thing to remember about non-speaking autism is that non-speaking does not mean non-thinking.
Yeah.
The Joshie-Man, he's gone from a little boy who, without the talker, he was upset a lot of the time, banging his head on the wall, very frustrated, to one that will now go on the talker and say, I want pepperoni pizza. And that's a profound thing to say.
And it's very important.
Right.
So can you explain the talker? Because if there are parents or nans and granddads, teachers listening, I'm fascinated by this little screen. Can you explain what it is?
So within the autistic community, a certain portion of those people are going to be non-speakers. They're going to be people who communicate not through verbal voice, but maybe through technology, or maybe through low tech with pictures, cards, etc. But what we're talking about today is an iPad or an Android device, a dead cheap piece of technology that's all around the world. And we put on some software there, which is proprietary, or it can be free. And then that literally transforms that little child's life into one that isn't able to express their basic needs and wishes, into one that will communicate for the first time. We just had a video on the way down here of a little girl saying to her mum that she loved her for the first time. And the mum was crying over the phone and said, I must see this video. I had to pull off the motorway. But that's what it's all about, is showing society that these kids have some value.
Of course they do. And you're unlocking that communication for both parties, aren't you?
Absolutely. So it's not just about the kids being able to communicate, but the power as well is for the families to be able to understand what the kids want, what they need, and how we can best support them. As you can imagine, it's very difficult for families of non-speakers who don't understand if they've got a toothache, or if they're hungry, or if they're tired, etc. So this has been the kind of the most powerful outcome for us.
So can you basically, I'm looking at Joshie now, and he's looking at his device, and he's obviously chattering away there.
Yes.
How does it work?
So it's a series of icons on the screen, menus, and then you will select the menu for people, and then he will go and select the word for daddy. He will then go to the menu for for food, and then go and select pepperoni pizza. So it's a very simple structure, and actually many more children can access its technology than perhaps families would think initially.
Yeah. And you are sort of taking this worldwide, aren't you?
Absolutely. So Let Them Have Their Voices is the campaign, and we have been across to LA recently in April, where we delivered 100. We then went to Mexico. We spent the summer in Brazil, where we did another 100, and we're going to Dubai in January.
You and Joshie?
Of course, he's a superstar. I'm the guy who just holds the iPads.
And from Peterborough to number 10. What happened there?
So we've had a very loud and long campaign about the fact that we believe the government should be doing more to make sure these devices are equitably accessible across the UK. So we were thrilled to be invited to 10 Downing Street, where we delivered a letter. Joshie-Man opened the door, he passed the letter on, he knew exactly what he was doing there. And that letter was asking the government to do more. And we were really thrilled that the government responded with a £1.7 million proof of concept trial to see how these devices could better support children in schools.
I was going to say, so what does finish look like? That all the children that needed a device would be able to have it in a school, like on a rollout plan?
So that's the narrow aim, but my overall aim is that all of these communication devices should be free for all children across the world. So we need to be building this technology in at the operating system level, rather than having to pay for expensive technology. And that's why I'm really thrilled about my partnership that's upcoming with Google on the Android system, and I'm also working with Apple.
Wow. They're big players getting involved.
Big players, but I think they know that they've got the chance to truly change the world for these kids.
Yeah, instead of, just making money,
Right.
they've got a chance to actually make a difference and do something really great.
Right.
Just before we started, you were telling me, Dan, that there is a lack of kit. And we were just thinking that if anybody in a company is listening and maybe you're in charge of the kit or ex-kit, how can we help?
So it's dead easy. There are hundreds and hundreds of companies across the UK that have tons of iPads and Android devices sitting gathering dust in cupboards. So what they could do is they could go to our website, letthemhavetheirvoices.com, and they can get in touch with us to donate their iPads or Android devices. And equally, there is a fundraiser on that page as well, because we also need to buy the technology, the software that sits on top of those devices.
Is this, when at the start, how did you get involved with this?
So Joshie got diagnosed relatively early, at 2.5 years, and we put in place a pretty extensive therapy program of speech therapy. We eventually were recommended by our speech therapist to get one of these devices, had an incredibly difficult time sourcing one on the NHS, and then actually finding out from other families locally, they didn't even know this technology existed, let alone how to apply for it.
I've seen that on your TikTok. There are loads of people with children who need this. They don't even know it exists, do they?
Yeah, so we've got over 600 people on our waiting list now, which is heartbreaking.
No.
So that's a magic number. If we can secure 600 devices today, that would be wonderful.
Right, somebody listening, we need 600 iPads, please.
But in all seriousness, this the transformation ability for this to change their lives means that actually a really cheap piece of kit, £200 or £300, a few £100 for the software, actually that is within the reach of a lot of businesses, and arguably, private donors have picked up the charge as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Now, the whole journey that you're on, I mean, it is amazing. I've been watching your TikToks and watching you, and you have been everywhere, and you are preaching what's going on here and the devices and how they're changing everything. I saw one of your TikToks, and this is when I first met you on TikTok a couple of weeks ago, because I saw something that was unpleasant that you have taken and tried to change the narrative with Joshie. What happened in Peterborough?
So unfortunately, we had an attack by a far-right member onto one of our local mosques, and they came in very early in the day, were verbally aggressive, assaulted a female police officer. And this is part of a wider campaign of intimidation in this country, I think, is that the far-right have become incredibly noisy and vocal, but also very aggressive. And I fear, having come back from spending the summer in Brazil distributing these, I was shocked at the number of flags flying across the country. And I was shocked because the implication there isn't to celebrate our patriotism, it's to other people, it's to intimidate.
Yeah.
And I was a bit worried that the great British public weren't calling this out enough. So when I heard from friends about this attack in my mosque, I thought, gosh, this hits even harder in my hometown. We cannot let these people, I've been to school with them, we go to the gym together. These are not Muslims, these are friends, first of all.
And they are fundamentally British people.
Well, you know what? They demonstrate more British values of tolerance, of acceptance, of community spirit than these far-right people do. So we went to the mosque. Joshie is a prolific baker. He's also known as the Joshie chef, and he's been to the Ritz Hotel where he's cooked. He's been to Michelin-starred restaurants all around the world. So his thing is baking cakes, and we thought, let's bring cakes and not hate. So we went to that mosque and we distributed these cakes, and it was a wonderful day for us because, one, everyone was so accommodating and respectful of Joshie's differences, which was fantastic. But two, they were just so keen to be understood and for, you know, the doors of the mosque to be open and for that far-right narrative not to be the one that's being perpetrated across media.
I love the phrase "more cake, less hate."
You're right.
And from Joshie, who is a fabulous baker and chef, I've seen loads of videos of him in Michelin-starred kitchens,
Right.
doing all sorts. How did that come about?
We've just been very lucky with our social media presence that people get behind this idea that, look, if a non-speaking autistic boy can be doing these things, then, you know, broader society needs to change. So we've had chefs contact us out of the blue. But I think the biggest thing for Joshie was when Tommy Banks' pies got stolen, the famous chef, last Christmas. So Joshie saw that, and this is a beautiful story. We were talking about it in bed at night. We were on the BBC News app, and Joshie wrote on his talker, "I see sad man, pies gone." So he had understood all of that from just me talking and looking at the website. And that, for us, was then a sea change, and we went up to York and we gave the pies to Tommy, and we did some beautiful videos for socials, and then loads of chefs got in touch with us from there.
Oh, that's amazing. And what does Joshie say to you himself through his device about all these experiences?
Well, look, he loves meeting people. That's what we found. So he will know as soon as we made some cakes, he will be put them in a bag and he'll be taking them to the car because he doesn't just want to bake them. He actually wants to distribute them. And that's the same with the iPads. When they arrive from big British businesses, he'll see the big box. He'll know to go and get his scissors, and he'll know to start setting them up so that we can take them and distribute them on.
Are you okay there, Joshie? He's taking it all in and listening to everything we are saying. Of course you are, young man. Of course you are. And he's having a look at me because I'm new and we're having a look at each other, sizing each other up. I'm so glad you came, Joshie. I'm really, really pleased that you came in because I love watching your TikToks. I really do. They've had quite a profound effect on me. So when you both said you would drive from Peterborough and come and see me, I was thrilled. But you're also going somewhere else after this.
We are. So we were told very firmly by the far right not to visit any more mosques.
Oh, really?
We were told very firmly to stop what we were doing or it would impact on my career. I've been threatened to get the sack. So we decided that kind of aggression needs to be met again with an equal amount of love. So we are coming out to Leicester today and we're visiting a load of mosques and also a Sikh temple, and the reason for that is that, you know, when someone comes at you with aggression and with hate, we need to be showing actually no, that's the wrong response, and we're not going to kind of withdraw in fear. And I hope the great British public also take this as an example, is that we need to be challenging the far right more.
How dare they do that to you? How dare they do that? I mean, and what you're doing is the perfect counter. If, you know, it's just absolutely right. You can't fight anger and, you know, and all that hate with anything but love and understand and acceptance and saying there is another way. That is the way to do it. 100% what you're doing, Dan. But I mean, it must have, to threaten you, and that's not easy.
It's not. I think that the primary concern is for the safety of the Joshie-Man.
Yeah.
But, you know, you would have to be a despicable individual to target a disabled child who's trying to do well and do good in the world.
Oh, and are these the same people that are, we're fighting for our, you know, our women, our children? Is those people?
It's the same people that say they're fighting for our women and children, and yet they're the ones that are happy to punch a female police officer.
Yeah.
And as we know about the Southport riots, 42% of those people who were saying they're protecting our women and children actually already had been convicted for domestic abuse offences.
So you're on your way to Leicester.
We are.
And you're going to visit a few mosques there.
A few mosques, and we're also visiting the Sikh community because we're not focused on one religion, we're focused on inclusion as a whole.
Because isn't that the rich diversity that we have in this country?
Absolutely.
And needs to be celebrated.
Indeed.
And you know what's lovely about this is that one young man, Joshie, is leading the way. and he is non-verbal, but he has a huge and powerful voice, because look what you're doing. Look what you're doing, Joshie. It is brilliant, because there are people making a lot of noise and saying very little. And I really applaud you for doing this. And it's an amazing story. And thank you, Josh, for coming in. I really appreciate it. Thank you. And thank you, Dan. And good luck in your journey. And I shall be watching on TikTok to see where you go next. So you're off to Saudi.
So we're going to Dubai in
Oh,
January.
Dubai.
And again, another purpose there is that we want to reach those parts of the world that maybe don't are not as further advanced on neurodiversity as a whole.
Yeah.
But equally, we want to make sure that we're not just focused on the Western world, because autism is equally prevalent across all societies.
Yeah, and if people are listening to this now and want to find out more, especially about the device or the work that you're doing, where can they find that?
So the campaign website is called letthemhavetheirvoices.com. And then the other side of what I do is I founded a charity called Neurodiversity in Business, and we can be seen on the website neurodiversity.org.
What a pleasure, Dan. Thank you for making the effort. Honestly, I was chuffed to bits when you said you'd come in.
Bless
so
you.
Thank you. And thank you, Joshie. And have a safe journey on up to Leicester.
Joshie, can you say bye?
No.
Bye.
Bye.
Amazing.
Perfect.
That was so easy.
Lovely.
Thank you.